What's up, guys? Spenny. Forgive me, I'm on my way to a date with my wife right now. I'm walking from the studio, actually. But this news is too big to ignore. Ghislaine Maxwell has been granted federal immunity by the DOJ. Why would you grant somebody federal immunity unless they're giving you something that is of a criminal nature? This is what's happening. Immunity is given to people who are confessing to the federal government, and they're doing so willingly. Perhaps they're already in prison, perhaps they're trying to save their asses, but they're confessing something that wasn't already known, and they want to protect themselves, and they want to give up people that are bigger than them. Immunity is given, for instance, in RICO cases. We've been covering this. It's a massive deal. This explains why 20 hours of testimony has now been gotten from Ghislaine Maxwell by Todd Blanche of the DOJ. This all locks in and makes sense. And we just heard today that Ghislaine Maxwell was asked about 100 different specific individuals. And lo and behold, Donald Trump is out at the White House talking about Bill Clinton. Saying, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton. My God, he's going to go after Obama and Clinton together. That's what's going to happen. Now, according to Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, they're very excited for the immunity. They're happy to take it. And the reason why they took it was because Ghislaine Maxwell needed to speak 100% freely, and she did. According to her lawyer, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't hold back on anyone. She told the full truth. I don't know. As I've said many times, Ghislaine Maxwell, according to all available evidence, is a monster in this story. However, if she's willing to give up bigger monsters, well, let's listen to her and let's see what she has to say. And in order to do that, you got to grant her immunity. And what does that mean? Well, is she going to testify? Yes. So that's what's very interesting. I called a member of Congress just a second ago, and they told me that this immunity from the DOJ extends to congressional testimony. You understand this? So she's going to now go ahead and testify before Congress. That's at least what I think, and that's what the member of Congress thinks. With the ability to say what needs to be said in the public and be protected, because she's doing it in the public interest. Now, this is what the Trump administration has been arguing for a very long time, that this case is in the public interest, and that's why we need to get the grand jury testimony. That's why we need to get all the information out of Maxwell. And they're doing a great job of it. And now with this notification that she's been granted a limited immunity by the feds to talk to Todd Blanche, it explains why 20 hours of testimony has gone by, and it probably explains why Maxwell had that box that she was carrying into the prison. 100 different people Maxwell gave up? Is this the literal Epstein list? Is this what we're getting? It's an amazing update. And also, more importantly, it sort of locks in with what we've heard from the White House this week. So what we just heard is a very strict change of tone from Donald Trump today. President Trump was out moments ago in Scotland. Now, he just landed in Scotland, and he's going to be doing a big tour there. And President Trump started his conversation on the tarmac by saying this right there in the airport in Scotland. He said, Bill Clinton, investigate.
What are you hoping Todd Blanche interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell? What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people. And we had an amazing 6 months. And this is sort of an example of it. Now we're meeting with the European Union, having We're also meeting with, as you know, the head of UK, Prime Minister, and I look forward to that. But we're meeting in terms of a deal. We're meeting with the European Union, and that would be actually the biggest deal of them all if we make it.
Did you ask House Republican leaders to not vote on the resolution about releasing the files?
I was never involved in that. I'm focused on making deals. I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you are. I mean, I watch you people. It's so sad. You ought to talk about the success of our country instead of this nonsense that you talk about over and over again.
And this is matching what the president has said multiple times today. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton. Are we witnessing information being relayed to Donald Trump about Bill Clinton? And is Donald Trump seizing on that information and taking it to the bank? President Trump now 3 times today saying you got to investigate Bill Clinton. Here's the other 2.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across the street you're going.
Todd Blanche is a great gentleman. He's a great man. Who's a great lawyer. He's got a great heart. But he's over there now. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I certainly can't talk about pardons.
Can you trust what she's telling him? She's a convicted trafficker who's eager to get out of prison.
Well, you know, he's a professional lawyer. I think he's been through things like this before. But you know, you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys lived with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Now, this is a comfort zone for Donald Trump. Obviously, he started his political career by saying you got to investigate Bill Clinton for this kind of stuff. But also, well, he's got to have new information because we haven't heard him say this before in this entire Epstein saga that's been going on for a month now, right, since the memo, but then also like throughout the campaign and so on. So it's very interesting. What's also interesting is that now we're starting to see some more pieces of the, Clinton-Epstein relationship appear. The Wall Street Journal published a message from Bill Clinton to Jeffrey Epstein talking about his childlike curiosity. That's his words, not mine, right? That's what the Wall Street Journal, he can sue the Wall Street Journal if he wants to. And then also this footage from Kevin Spacey going newly viral again, talking about little girls on Jeffrey Epstein's jet with Bill Clinton. Is Kevin Spacey lying? What motivation does Kevin Spacey, an Oscar winner, have to lie about Bill Clinton on Epstein's jet? Kevin Spacey doesn't work for Trump. He's not trying to save his ass. Seems like he's just trying to exonerate himself entirely. Here's Kevin Spacey saying there were little girls on that plane with Bill Clinton.
I was very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights?
There were young girls on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it. But here's my point. There's a big difference between not remembering that I met some guy and some woman on a humanitarian trip where my focus was entirely on what we were there to do and not remembering whether I went to somebody's island. So I never went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I did not know him, and I never saw him or her after that morning at Buckingham Palace. He didn't even come to Buckingham Palace. She was only
is
there.
It true that Prince Andrew sought your assistance and wanted you to testify that Ghislaine Maxwell was your guest, not his, during that Buckingham Palace tour.
I heard a report about that, but at no time did anyone ever contact me on his behalf. And as I say, I'm not friends with him. I never saw him after that day.
What do you think about what's happened to him?
I don't know anything about it. It's not, I'm not going to talk about someone else's scandal, you know.
I'm just saying that if I were Bill Clinton, I'd be probably one of the most concerned men in the world right now. This ain't good for him. But maybe it's good for us, the American people, who just want justice for these monsters. There we go. That's the breaking news. Immunity for Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me know what you think in the comment section. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.